What's up, guys? Raku, and welcome to the Raku Otaku podcast. So we have an Instagram. Just thought I'd do a quick plug. And yep, you can follow it. And yeah, so today's topic is our favorite antagonists. And yep, introduce yourself, degenerates.
I am Jake the Pogue.
Well, you're not the degenerate here. He said degenerate. I was gonna go first, but I'm Jake the Pog. That was Manga Unboxed who said he was Jake the Pog.
Yes, it was I, Manga Unboxed,
The one and only.
the biggest antagonist of the Raku Otaku podcast.
That was actually Dom. That's why he left. We defeated him.
That's why he was pushed off the yacht, bro.
Yeah, that's why we pushed him off the yacht, bro. We just had
The yacht story's too sad.
Yeah, the yacht story is too sad, bro. Even though you were the one who did it, you and Jake. Whatever.
Are we gonna mention the thing we were talking about before?
Oh, yeah. So we're going to be starting a manga reading book club on the podcast. Obviously, this idea was kind of, inspired by the... What are they? The fucking...
Okay.
Gears podcast. Gear and Shaman's podcast.
And also, On the Shelf, I think, is doing it.
Yeah, on the shelf and there between
And
the
Rant
shelves.
Cafe did it with One Piece.
Yeah, and also Rant Cafe. It's definitely a popular thing, but a reading club. We have some series in mind, Ping Pong, Fire Punch, but we haven't fully decided on anything. But yeah, let's just get right into the topic. And yeah, I'll give my number 5. So we're doing our top 5 antagonists. And my number 5 just
We gotta order them?
Oh, dude, is that are you not prepared?
No. I can think fast.
Of course you can. You're always on your feet, Manga Unboxed. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
That should be fun.
Now watch my back. I don't want J-Kun to shank me.
Of course. My number 5 is, like, a bit of an interesting pick, because not a ton of people see this as, like, a story that really has an antagonist, but, the antagonist for me, personally, was, for Goodnight Pun Pun, was not Pun Pun or Aiko or anything. It was, Tanaka, which is kind of, I'm not gonna get into too many spoilers, but it's pretty much Pun Pun's, like, as he grows older, and as, you've probably seen some pictures of him floating online with his horns, it's sort of like, he sort of changes his personality, and obviously changes come with that, and he changes his legal name to Tanaka. So, and that's when sort of things start their real spiral. Not gonna get into it, of course, I don't want to spoil Pun Pun, because it's, like, my favorite manga. And yeah, it's definitely, if there was to be one villain of the story, it's definitely Tanaka. And yeah, none of you guys have read Pun Pun.
As in, like, Pun Pun himself?
Yeah, no, it's hard to explain if you haven't really read it.
Other personality?
Yeah,
say. Okay. I got a lot of Pun Pun on the way.
Hell yeah.
Which is pretty hype.
At the end of volume 4.
Except for the first volume.
At the end of the 4th volume, like, he's, he be jacking it, and then, like, he just, like, thinks of the idea to just change. Spoilers? Yo.
Oh, like...
Everyone's read Pun
That's
Pun,
not even
bro.
cool, man.
It's literally sold 14 million copies in the whole United America.
Yo, you know, there's more people than 15 million.
That's not true.
J.Kun.
You're literally
Can you,
There's more people than like 50 million in my state.
That's not true, bro. What do you, bro? You live in... Onward. Do you know what I have in my hand?
New York.
Do you know what I have in my hand? Jake the Pog.
What transition?
Yeah, always.
Jake the Pog is in J-Dog's hand.
Of course. Always.
Just like last week when you had the topic in your hand, huh?
Of course. I always have the topic, bro. I always stay strapped.
New York's population is 8.4 mil, so get shit on Jake the
Get shit on
Pog.
Jake the Pog.
Oh, so it's half the amount.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow, you're half the world. Feels good.
So, what's your number 5?
Me?
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah, you.
Okay. I see how it is. I see it as. It would be Licked, aka Pie Tree from Black Clover. For me, Licked is, kind of like the Lich King from Adventure Time, but not really, because it's Licked instead of Lich. Well, I'm gonna get off that, but basically, Licked actually has a real motive, and his character is pretty interesting, as he's the only one that we see with light magic, and light magic is very fucking cool, and his motive is basically, he's an elf, and they were actually in a mass genocide by the humans, so he wants to do the same exact thing back to the humans, and get back at the humans for killing his whole entire race. And what does he try to do with that? He tries to get all the magic stones to aid him on this quest of destroying all of humanity, and that actually is a good motive, because it's literally just kind of like, in my opinion, how Eren is going about it in Attack on Titan, where almost like everyone he cared about, like his mother and all that, was just killed in the beginning, and now he's just trying to get revenge for it. But we're seeing it from a more antagonistic perspective rather than a protagonistic perspective. Plus, I think he's a very good contrast with Yami, who uses dark magic, and him and Yami do go at it a bit. And I really do like that, so that's why I've had to put Licht at number 5.
Sounds very interesting. Like mass genocide. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
You could
basically,
say.
the
Shows how
elves
bad we are
inside
at
Black Clover,
transitions.
they are one with mana, they say, because, like, I don't know, something with nature. And basically, people got, like, kind of jealous of this and thought they were going to overtake humanity, so they just decided to kill all elves. And Licht got reincarnated and decided, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing to you guys. Get fucked. So, yeah. That's basically how Licht works, and there's a lot of twists and turns with that. And I think Licht was a really good starting antagonist, with the Eye of the Midnight Sun being like the first antagonistic group. I thought it was a really good thing to start off with. I do really like Licht and all that. So yeah.
One sec. I'm just gonna change to my old headphones to see if the echo is on my part. 'Cause there's a little bit of echo.
Yeah.
Wow. I see how it is on Box.
Bro, trying to get out of your number 5 because you just haven't thought of it. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I am back. So my number 5, I would probably say, is Garo from One Punch Man. Garo is just like, if you've ever read One Punch Man, he's just like so badass and brings this crazy vibe to like every fight he's in, like every scene he's in. Just brings a lot of like intensity in general. Like he's got some like black Air Force energy, you could say. And he progresses and progresses, and like he really doesn't stop until he reaches his goal. And like from where I'm at right now, I could just like you see him becoming a main antagonist. Like at the start, he was kind of like very focused on him, but like you didn't really see him as a real threat. But like he just keeps growing and growing and getting stronger and stronger. And I think it's really interesting that like his kind of like wants to be a monster. Like he has a very different perspective on like how the heroes are in the world. He doesn't really see them as heroes. He just sees them as kind of fakes going for popularity. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, he like Saitama is the only like real hero he sees.
Yeah, he was one that I wanted to choose. The one, my number 5, Tanaka, was like kind of a last minute because you guys fucking stole all of mine, you assholes. So except for my top 4, but yeah, no, Garo's amazing. Garo's one of the best parts of One Punch Man, at least the latter half. Yeah, he's great. He's just amazing. He's like the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Exactly. And his whole like hero hunt thing, that was just like he was just fucking people up left and right.
Dude, remember it's like him versus like 5 A-class heroes or whatever?
Oh yeah, it was savage.
That was such an amazing fight.
The A-class heroes were too they wanted to prove a point.
They got
and then they got shit on.
Absolutely shit on.
Until Genos and Saitama came in, like, yeah, you're fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving
on.
I
also think the whole thing with like the kid with Garo that he met,
yeah, it's super
was really
interesting.
good.
Yeah,
it gave him like
it didn't feel like a plot like convenience.
He's kind of always trying to be a monster, but like he's still human, and it's kind of shown in that. Still got feelings.
Yeah. 100%. Coming on to my number 4, we have the only One Piece villain that will be on this list, and my favorite One Piece villain. It was a big debate with 2 separate One Piece villains, the other one being Katakuri, but the one that I had to choose was Doflamingo. Doflamingo is just one of the most twisted, fucked up villains in anything. He's just, obviously he has his backstory, which is just like, he had a fucking horrible childhood, but he is twisted. He, like, the first time you really get to see him is in the Paramount War, which I won't spoil what's happening, but like there's a bunch of death and destruction and shit in the Paramount War, and he's just laughing. He's just laughing it up because he thrives off of all this fucking murder and this horrible shit, and he's so interesting. He's just insanely interesting. I think one of the best parts about him is just he's just like he doesn't have emotions. He's like a sociopath, but he's actually an interesting character. His powers are he's pretty much able to like use the string through or whatever it's called, and he can just manipulate people, which is like just it's so like thematically interesting based on like just like who he is as a person. One missed opportunity is that in his fight with Luffy, I'm not gonna say what happens, but I wish that he had kind of used Luffy's friends and crewmates as like against him with the fruit because it felt a bit anticlimactic that his stuff was underused. But yeah, he's just an amazing character. There's just everything about him just radiates like villain. He's just twisted. Yep.
That's a good thing for a villain.
If I was gonna say anyone has Black Air Force energy, instead of Garo, I would have fucking gave that to Dofi, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This man is straight up Black Air Force. Like, there's nothing else with him.
I still need to read more One Piece.
Yeah.
You see him in Jaya a little bit, but not too much. Because technically, Bellamy, isn't he part of his crew?
Yeah, he's part of his crew.
Yeah, so you see Dopey for like 2 panels and then nothing else. So yeah.
Yeah, I still need that third box set. But I'm pretty sure Paramount War isn't even in
No, it is.
The third box set.
It is.
Not Paramount War. I mean Dressrosa.
Oh no, it's me in the fourth.
Oh wait, is Dressrosa not in the third? Really?
No.
I think it starts like volume 72.
I think it ends off.
I think it's no. It starts 71. I think exactly.
Yeah, around there.
Oh wait, yeah.
My friend that reads One Piece was talking about it.
I think it once it the last volume is entering Dressrosa. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like volume 70 is entering Dressrosa for box set 3. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and the box set is still like 170. Like I've waited this long. I'll just wait for it to go down another like $50.
Yeah.
Or more, to be honest.
I think I got mine for 110.
That's around the usual for box sets.
Yeah,
I am not feel like paying more than like 130 at most, probably. To be honest.
Box set 3 is going to be kind of like box set 2. Not box set 3. Box set will be like box set 2. Or it maybe only has 2 major arcs. It's going to be Dressrosa and Whole Cake are going to be the main arcs, and then that's basically most of all box set 4 probably. Because those are 2 long arcs.
So is Jacob?
Yeah, now my number 4 is going to be Sato from Ajin. Now, if you've not yet read Ajin, Sato is an amazing character, and you don't get to see his backstory until I think volume 13 or 14, which is going to end at volume 17. But I mean, if you've read Ajin, I think you'd also have Sato pretty high, because out of every antagonist, Sato is so interesting because he really thinks of life as a video game. Because he's a demi-human, he knows he can play life as a video game, because if he dies, he just comes back to life. So why not do that? And that's what he absolutely does. He takes advantage of being a demi-human, and it's really interesting to see his kind of ideological battle with Kei Nagai, as they both take different ideological standpoints, and I really do like that. So Sato is just super interesting, and how he goes about his plan of like destroying things and how he goes about his plans is very interesting and intricate. And every time that Kei Nagai tries to stop him, he already is one step ahead, since he's already been alive for way longer. He was even in the army, so he knows a lot of these kind of strategies. So he kind of just knows a bunch of things and knows most likely what Kei Nagai's next move is, and uses that to his advantage to get himself into a better situation, which is amazing. It's so amazing to see versus Kei Nagai.
Yeah, I
haven't read it.
Haven't seen it in a while, but I watched the Ajin anime. Like, it was like one of my early on animes. It might have been my first, like, my memory of that area is a little bit foggy. But I have the complete manga. I got it on sale. And I haven't read it yet, but from what I've seen of it a long time ago, Sato was just like one of the main things of the show that I just love. Like his battles, like everything he did, like his attitude, it was just great. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
How he goes about everything.
He's just so badass, too.
Yeah, he's literally such a badass. He goes into a fucking he goes into a military base and just claps their cheeks. It's not even like they do anything. They literally can't. He just claps them. It's not
Did
even
straight up
funny.
clap some nice.
Yeah, I don't even like. I haven't read Austin, but like one of my friends named like his his like tag is like Brindle. I'm not gonna do a name drop. I ain't about that life. But like the thing about him is that like he's like super into the Asian anime. He's seen like all the seasons, and he just like loves this character. He'll never shut the fuck up about him. Shout out to Brindle. Like Asian's like I think his favorite anime. He's not like a big manga reader compared to anime, but like, bro, he I think he's had this character as like his profile picture for like a year and a half now. It's nutty, like how much he loves this
Yo,
character.
I just like stumbled across it on Netflix in my like early like anime days, or maybe my first, as I said, a little bit foggy in that area. But I just started watching it. I was on vacation and I just watched it and I loved it.
I feel like J-Dog, you'd really like Ajin. I
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like
just
you
not.
really would.
I'm just not spending that much money on like such a
Yeah,
thin
it's
volume.
really fucking expensive and it's very fast reading. So
Yeah, I got it on sale, so that was nice.
if you didn't get it on sale, you just are unlucky. I got it during the vertical sale. That's when I got mine. So
Yeah, okay, so I guess I'm up, and let's see, what is my number 4? I would probably have to say it's Tetsuo Akira. So I don't know if all of you guys in the audience have read the Akira manga. Most likely you haven't. You've probably only seen the movie, but
Cringe.
yeah, cringe. The manga is just way better than the movie. Like the movie for me is like it's like okay, it's good, it's okay, but like the manga is just like in my top 10. It's great. And so Tetsuo is just this kind of like monster that just does like anything to get his pills. He kind of goes from just being this delinquent kid who just gets all of a sudden like pulled into this whole like government conspiracy, and he gains like what is it called? Like what's the ability called? Like psycho whatever it's called.
Fuck, I haven't read it in a while.
Telekinesis, yeah. And he kind of turns on his friends and seeks out Akira, but like he is just so badass. Like he goes through a lot of emotional stuff too, because like the experiments and stuff just kind of like fucked him up really bad. And in the second arc, he was like especially really good because like in the second arc, there's this whole kind of like cult kind of vibe going on based around the kid Akira, and he just kind of like runs it from the backgrounds because Akira's the figure, but he kind of still fears Akira because he went to confront him once and noticed his power, and he just kind of like went into his room and just like was fucked up. He was scarred.
Yeah.
It is just so good.
Yeah, Tetsuo's great. I think like he's not like top 5 for me, but he's definitely up there. But like one thing that I love about Tetsuo is that like he's just drawn really cool. Like some of my favorite panels in manga are like those panels where it's kind of like Tetsuo isolated from like everyone around him, and it shows like panels like that are just like so cool. He's such a thematically interesting character. Have you read it, Jake?
nope, I need to.
Bro, imagine being
Tetsuo is just great, and there's a lot of like emotion put into his character. And the ending, I won't spoil it because I think that the ending for the manga is very good. That was really good. Kind of comes to terms, you could say.
I mean,
So
I need to read it.
you need to. The box set's pretty expensive, but you never know how long it will last. Because
yeah.
it was supposed to only come out once
Yeah.
on the 35th anniversary.
Yeah. But next up we have like my third favorite antagonist. This top 3 is like every single character in this is just a fucking beast. But my number 3 has to be Isabella from The Promised Neverland.
Stole that one from me.
Yeah, I did steal that one from you in box, and fuck you. Because Isabella is honestly one of the greatest crafted characters. So obviously there's like the cycle, and obviously a lot of people like her because of her sense of mystery. It's like, oh, she's the mom or whatever. But when you really delve into her backstory, it just hits so different because you realize that like she's just been like Tetsuo, like a lot of the greatest protagonists are just kind of thrust into it. You know what I mean? Or they're at least like they're either thrust into it and kind of like brainwashed, or they're just twisted as fuck for like no reason besides like a fucked up childhood or something. But yeah, like so pretty much the general premise of The Promised Neverland. Fuck, can I even say the general premise? Nah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can. It's
yeah.
right, bro. It's
Yeah.
the first chapter. Just
Yeah,
say it.
It's literally it's the
It's
end
like
of the
first chapter. So these kids are pretty much being raised in a farm to be eaten. It's pretty fucked. And obviously she's like the proprietor of this, so you're like, oh, she's pretty fucked up. And then you learn she was one of these kids, and then you learn that like she had the choice to be like to either like get killed or be like the mom because she had the highest grades, and it shows that like she's just like she represents like what these kids will become and how crushed they'll be in the end. It's like super interesting because it's like she represents like just an antagonist with no hope and who's just like submitted, and it's so interesting. Every scene with her just had me so interested and so engaged. I couldn't like stop watching like once she was on screen. Uh,
And a
her
lot of
dynamic with
intensity.
Ray, like Ray obviously being her son, and her dynamic with Emma, like Emma being like a lot like her, and it's just so interesting.
How I saw Isabella was I saw Isabella as a. I know people like compare it with like Naruto and Obito as well, but as an Emma who really just gave up and gave in.
Yeah.
Because like
Uh-huh.
Emma had the choice too, but Emma decided to decline that choice and to escape. Well, she just knew that she didn't think she could, so she gave up and gave in and decided to become a mother.
100%.
So I really do think that Isabella is a really great antagonist for that as well, and how that they made Emma the protagonist, and they did have a very good like kind of dynamic because of both of them being given the decision to become a mother, and seeing how both of them took it is very interesting to me.
At the end of the first arc, they really kind of showed how Isabel really feels. Like, she was, I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but she was, if you know, you know.
She also
She was
dies.
happy for the kids.
She dies
She was
at the very
happy
end.
for them.
She dies
She was
actually.
happy.
So
All the
does
characters
Levi.
actually die in the very end of Promised Neverland. The entire world is destroyed, and Goku is forever the strongest character in Promised Neverland. Okay, I'm lost. Or Jake, sorry.
So, my number 3 is another series that none of you have read, other than J-Dog reading the first couple volumes, and that is Yuto I think it's called Ijaki. I don't know how to say his new name, Ijaki, because from Twin Star. Basically, he used to be called Yuto Adashino, but once once his parents died, he changed his last name and moved away because he didn't want to be known as an Adashino because his family's disgraceful because they were guardians and they died to a Kigari. But basically, Yuto is here for me because him and Rokuro have that same kind of dynamic that Emma and Isabella kind of have, and I really love how Yuto went about it. Yuto is definitely a lot more insane than Isabella because I think Isabella really didn't have a choice. Well, Yuto is doing this to himself to try to become the strongest exorcist because his goal was just to kind of mend the bond between both the worlds of Magano and Earth, and seeing how he goes about it by trying to become the strongest exorcist so both sides don't always have to be at war is really interesting. And I love how Yuto goes about things, even though he gives up a lot of his body and gives up a lot of his mental state. He still has the same goal, and he still wants the people he wants. He still wants Rokuro on his side. Even till the end, he still wants him by his side to try and help him. But Rokuro doesn't want to help him because he knows what he has to do. He knows that Yuto's going to be helping the Kagari until the world kind of knows, like, you shouldn't mess with either side. Which is really interesting, and I really love how Yuto goes about things.
Yeah, I think that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Like, the villains that are kind of like that just really intrigue me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we get actually a mini backstory of how Rokuro and Yuto really their dynamic is. I think in like volume 3, but more recently at like volume 18 or 19, we see his actual backstory and why he actually is like it, and how much pain he really did go through because of trying to become the strongest exorcist without doing what he did. she's just insane. And even if you don't know Yuto, he does have an eye patch, and it does show why he has an eye patch and why he gave and what he did to need the eye patch, which is so like dark. But he really chose a dark path and knew what he had to do, and gave up what he needed to give up to get to that next level. He knew what he had to do, and he tried to get stronger so he can mend the two worlds. And I love that. Even though Yuto is a very big psychopath, and I do like psychopathic characters, he's just an amazing antagonist to me. And yes, he doesn't have too much time in the middle, but when you see Yuto again, it's very interesting, his plans. He's not a dumb character. He actually thinks of very intricate plans, so I really do like it.
And psychopath character just hits different.
Always.
Yeah. Psychopath characters definitely hit different.
Literally, my
Because they just bring so much energy.
My number 2 and 1 are literally both the most psychotic characters in all of anime, but we'll get to that in a bit. Unboxed?
Neither of mine are.
What's your number 3?
Okay. I think it's gonna have to be Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin, and Jake has read Rurouni Kenshin, but I don't think J-Dog has yet.
Nope.
But this guy is just like, he's another Black Force, like Black Air Force energy dude. Like, he just does his job as an antagonist great. Again, like a lot of people on my list, is super badass. His motives are kind of like personal and politically driven, and Rurouni Kenshin has a lot of politics in it, and I love a lot of politics in my manga. So basically, kind of his backstory was he was the successor to Kenshin as kind of like the big assassin, I think it's called the Batosai, or the Urin Ichi. It's kind of hard to keep track of words in Kenshin because they use like the Japanese words instead of translating it. But it's just like, he just brings so much intensity in the Kyoto arc. Like, every time he was there, like, it was just hype, like just eyes glued to the page, because he just brought like so much to every scene he was in, and every fight. So wait, I didn't even say his backstory. I just kind of got sidetracked. But basically, what happened is he was the successor to Kenshin, but the government, like who he's working for, kind of they didn't like what he was doing. They thought he was getting like too powerful, so they basically tried to assassinate him. They like shot him in the head and poured oil on him and burnt him. That's why he's always wearing bandages. But he survived, and basically the Kyoto arc is based around him building up an army and trying to take over Japan or the new government. So that's kind of like the political drive, because like they bring it up a lot how there's different parties that like disagree with the new government, because there was a big war. That's where Kenshin was kind of like the Batosai, like killing everyone to fight for peace, but then the new government that like people don't really agree with it, and there's other, like the main side character Sanosuke, like he used to be part of a group that doesn't agree with it. But it was like the Kyoto arc, which was based around Shishio, was so good. Like all the fights he was in, like it was the new government hired Kenshin and Sato, who is a Kenshin character, not Ajin, and basically to stop Shishio.
Yeah, so he's amazing antagonist as well. I do agree with you. To actually talk about a little bit, I'm gonna get sidetracked on this. You said you like political manga. I think you'd really like Magi. Magi is literally a battle shonen.
Bro, Magi, the anime is good. Around politics. Even the anime is good, bro.
Did the anime get canceled?
Yep.
No, it didn't get canceled. It just stopped airing.
Yeah.
It had full on season 2, but it didn't have a season 3 yet.
Yeah. My number 2.
Do you think they're gonna make one?
Probably not. It's been a while, but I mean, I think you would really like Magi, because it is a battle centered around politics. Like the whole entire series is just centered around politics.
Political manga is just so good, and that's gonna relate to my number 2 in the future too. It just works so well.
Yeah, my number 1 and 2 do have a lot of political things in there as well. So.
Oh, my number 2 and 1 are just batshit insane, and that segues into my number 2, which is Kira fucking Yoshikage from JoJo's Part 4. This character it was debating between this and my number one for my number one. He's a fucking lunatic. Okay, so pretty much, Kira is in the town of, Mori? Or something like that?
Moria.
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 Yeah, Moria. And he's just a peaceful guy trying to live a quiet life. But he happens to have a fetish for severed hands. So, he's trying to live a quiet life, but he's also just fucking murdering fools and like cutting off their hands. And yeah, he's definitely weird. So, there's been a lot of murders. And obviously Josuke, Jotaro, and all the boys, Koichi, are like trying to investigate that. And the first scene that he's in is okay. So there's a little arc with Koichi and Rohan where they meet this dead girl, and then she's like, somebody in this town killed me, but I didn't get to see their face. And then they walk out, and they almost get hit by a car, like by accident, and then they yell at the guy, like, watch where you're going, and it pans into the guy's car, and then it's Kira, and he's like talking to someone, because you don't know, this is your introduction to him, and he's just talking to like someone, and he's like, oh, you want to go on a date? And like, they don't respond, and then like, he steps out of his car, and then you just see his like him like holding someone's hand, and then he just shows, and it's just a fucking severed hand, and it's just such a great scene. I was captured by every scene, his backstory, everything was just, he's so twisted, but he's so interesting. Like, from memory, I can just give his monologue. I'm not going to do it because, like, time constraints, but he's just twisted, and he's so interesting. He's the kind of character where it's like, Part 4 would probably be a pretty mediocre part if Kira just wasn't insane. He's just amazing. He elevates it to a level that I don't think many anime can be elevated by their antagonists to this way. Like, he's just amazing. And one thing that I think is also pretty great about him is that he is sort of, Araki kind of made him as a representation of a normal anime fan, which might sound kind of weird, but like
an otaku,
like a kind of a disgusting otaku who's like doing some pretty nefarious shit, like whatever otakus do. There's some stories about like otaku killers and stuff. Obviously there's like kind of the stigma of them being incels who don't leave the house.
Jade-kun and Unboxed.
Yeah, like Jade-kun Unboxed and Jake the Pog, of course. And he's kind of like a representation of someone who's trying to live a quiet life while doing nefarious shit. And it's just great. He's amazing. Have any of you guys read JoJo Part 4?
I have not.
I've read to Part 3, but I've watched all the anime.
I still need to read JoJo's on my list to read soon. I don't have Part 4 though. But like a twisted villain, good backstory, badass sounds good.
I mean, that kind of segues into mine for the twisted backstory of my number 2. And I don't really see him fully as an antagonist, but it's going to be Askeladd. Askeladd is shown so much as not really being a really bad guy, but someone that's just using Thorfinn for his own good. Because if you don't know, Askeladd's the guy who killed Thors, who is Thorfinn's dad. And basically Thorfinn's whole entire scheme for this whole thing is trying to get revenge and to kill Askeladd. Well, Askeladd doesn't let him kill him, and he wants to kill him in an honorable way. So he wants to kill him in a duel, because that's how Askeladd beat his dad. And basically, Askeladd's like, if you do this for me, I'll duel you. And every single time, Askeladd's stronger than Thorfinn and will win. But he still looks over Thorfinn, kind of like a fatherly figure, because at one point he does give a speech being like, at one point you will kill me, because at one point I will grow old, and you will be in your peak. So there's at one point in time where you're going to be stronger than me, and I'm going to allow that. Like, he knows it for a fact, and he lets it be known, because he knows how much this means to Thorfinn, and he really just kind of looks after Thorfinn in a way. But I think he's just an amazing antagonist, an amazing character. Once you see his backstory and see what kind of character he really is and why he is like it, it's super fascinating to see. And seeing how he really thinks of things and how strong he is compared to the other people, because technically, physically, he's nowhere near as strong as Thorkel. But if you compare him to other characters, he is way smarter than almost every character. He uses he just uses strategies to outsmart people. He is definitely an amazing antagonist, in my opinion. And Vinland Saga is great, and Askeladd is my probably favorite character in Vinland Saga so far. I've only read where the anime leaves off. I need to read more, but yeah. Askeladd's great.
Vinland, another one that I need to read.
You would love Askeladd, bro. He's like the main political force of.
I've been saving Vinland for a long time, just because of how acclaimed it is.
Askeladd is just so great. I don't know if J-Dog, have you read any of Vinland or no?
First volume, and I saw him just kill Thor's, and I was like, he's cool. I definitely need to keep reading, and I have the same feeling as Unbox. It's like I definitely want to read it, but it's like it's so acclaimed, and it's so many people say it's like Berserk, Vinland, or One Piece. Those are the three that like everyone says is like masterpieces. So I definitely want to wait a bit to read it.
It's so good. I would definitely suggest it.
Yeah, probably gonna read that eventually.
Yeah, probably. You definitely should.
Yeah, I will, of course. But should I go into my number 2?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
So my number 3, 2, and 1 are all very close. But my number 2 is Char, and you guys haven't read Mobile Suit Gundam yet, but I have, and I love Char. So Char is the main villain in Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. I haven't really read or watched any other Gundam media, but he's made my top 2 villains. You guys would love him because he's very politically based, like Gundam. As it goes on, it gets way more political. And so basically Char is very devious and manipulating. He kind of uses others to pursue his own personal goals and ideologies. He kind of, from a young age, he understood his place in the world and what he needed to do to kind of do or achieve his goal, because even from a young age he was already very smart and he already knew what he needed to do. He takes the sides of people that's convenient for him, kind of back to him using others. And like I said before, he plays the game of politics just very, very well. Even when he was young, he was already involved in stuff and getting to know the game. And he's just one of the coldest villains ever. Just does some crazy stuff just out of nowhere. Just says some dope things, and his backstory is so good. Probably one of the best villain backstories I've seen. Because if you don't know, Gundam has a whole arc that's a backstory of what's going on with the war. Because basically Gundam is based around a war against the Earth Federation and the space noids that's going on. And it goes into kind of how it started, how House Zabi, which is a kind of royal political, not really royal, but kind of a political powerful family that basically kind of started the war, or they basically run Xeon, which is the Space Federation. And that arc was just so good, and it had Char's backstory and Char's sister's backstory, which I won't say because it's kind of a spoiler. And it just got me so hype, and it was so good. You kind of have to pay attention a lot because there's a lot of stuff going on. But Gundam is great. If you haven't already read it, read it. And Char is amazing.
I definitely need to read that. I'll admit.
Seems fire.
It's expensive, but
Very.
so good.
Yeah.
Even on sale, it was like $220.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
It's it's very expensive. That's why I don't know if I should get it or if I should wait for event to get money or
maybe just collect it slowly. If you get a couple volumes a month or a few volumes a month, or I don't know. But it's, to me, it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
It really picks up as it goes, because I said, that, I think the 4th volume or something, or like the 5th, it gets into the backstory. But even before that, it really picks up. Like the first volume or two is like, it's pretty decent, but it's kind of getting started because you don't really know what's going on with the war yet.
Yeah. I can't wait to actually read it, because I'm going to read it at one point. I just can't wait to.
Gundam's so good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all on our final protagonist.
We
No, I'll just give you
antagonist.
or antagonist, bro.
Get
I'm
right,
fucking
little boy.
I'm stupid.
You
I
idiot.
literally have no chromosomes, but let's keep on keeping on. So yeah, if you can't tell, I'm pretty tired.
The
But yeah,
fuckus.
Simfuckus. Bro, we ain't gonna mention Simfuckus on the podcast. If you're watching Demko,
Yo, Simfuckus, if you're watching this,
yo,
we would love to have you on.
Simfuckus, we'd love.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you on.
Simfuckus.
I'd be down to have some focus on here.
Demko,
Yeah, fuck
Jake, we
Demko,
know
we
you
want
would
some
not.
fuckus.
We know you're the only person.
Yeah,
who
fuck
would.
them, Coke. We want some focus.
You know you don't want Simfuckers, Jake. You hate him, bro.
No, I want some focus.
Oh, okay.
Guys, if you don't know, I have a personal vendetta against J Demko.
Yeah, Demko.
Yeah,
That's why he'll never be on the podcast.
Yeah, he has a very personal vendetta with J Demke.
Yeah.
It goes back generations with our families and stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. We can put a whole episode to that. But
Yeah, we can do it during our embarrassing backstory episode that has to come out at one point.
Oh yeah.
embarrassing
Bro,
backstory.
I sadly, bro, when East brought the thing up, I sadly just had to, I just had to change subjects. I was like, oh, we can talk about that in our very own episode. Now it's just been promised. So, yeah. But on to my favorite antagonist in all of manga and anime and video games and penis music. And that's
Whoa.
Johann Libre from Monster. Johann, again, like Kira, is just a fucked up character. So pretty much, when he was a kid, he lived in Germany or something like that, and he was very impressionable. He read a lot of books that were about boys who didn't have. The main book that he read as a kid was about a monster that didn't have a name, and that monster ends up having no friends at the very end. But I can't really get too much in that story because that story literally explains the entirety of Monster. But whatever, let's keep going on. And yeah, Johann is just a twisted character. So pretty much he asks his sister, he kills his family, and he asks his sister to shoot him, so it looks like somebody did it. You know what I mean? They killed the entire family and stuff. And then after that, Dr. Tenma has the choice to either save the mayor or save this kid. Obviously, the kid came in first, but the mayor's famous, so if the mayor dies, that's not good. And he obviously chooses the kid because he came in first. And yeah, and so that kind of causes a downward spiral in Tenma's life. But then Tenma realizes, and then there's a lot of killings around the office. Tenma obviously gets fired. He's kind of a bum. And then he realizes that Johann was the one who did this all. So then it starts this back and forth chase of Johann and Tenma finding all this information. And obviously, it's no secret that Monster is one of my favorite manga, if not my favorite manga of all time. So yeah, I'm a big fucking Monster fan. It's a masterpiece. But yeah, Johann elevates it. Johann just elevates it. He's so interesting. Obviously, a lot like Kira, he's not the main focus, but every time he's on screen, it's just fucking amazing. So yeah, he's just so twisted. He pulls the strings for literally every character Tenma as well. And he's literally, as you just sort of expand and you read more about the story about him as a kid, and the more you learn about him, the more you learn about how he's just pulling the strings with everything, and sort of his childhood, how he was kind of forced to be a super soldier, and how he was sort of brainwashed. It's just amazing. Johann is just a fucking great character. Probably one of my favorite characters in all of manga. Top 5, 100%. Yeah, Johann's just a fucking beast. Have any of you guys read Monster?
I haven't, but I really look forward to it after that.
See, look, you know what I mean by somewhat, right? Did I ever tell you what I meant by
Yeah,
Monster by brain off? Did I explain what brain off meant?
Yeah, you just read Monster with your brain off, which is something you just don't do with Monster.
Did I ever explain to you what I did, how I did that?
I don't know.
I read it with 45 minutes of sleep, and I read it all in a day.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I basically read half the words and just looked at pictures.
So, you're...
How could you do that
Jake
to
thought he was reading Negima, not Monster.
Bro, that's disrespect. It's because he has a shonen brain, bro.
No, I'm going to read it and actually think about it, because that was like one of the first mangas I read on scans. And I like
Yeah.
kind of just did that with a lot of the mangas I read on scans, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Dude, Jake's gonna read it, but he's gonna use his brain this time to
Yeah,
comprehend it and bring in the information, not just look at it.
and just not just to look at Johan and think, oh, look at that kid.
Yo,
Look at
imagine
that
reading
stupid
scans,
kid.
though.
Look at
Imagine
that
reading
kid with the blonde
scans.
hair.
Hey,
Imagine
here's
re-
why
imagine-
I hate scans, because look at me. I read scans for like 2 months, and then look at my collection. And nowadays, I'm rebuilding and trying to get every single volume I read on scans, and I literally only need like Monster.
Yo, imagine reading scans. Imagine being an evil devil
Yeah, it couldn't
that
be me.
reads scans.
Bro, literally,
Imagine.
it's so cringe, bro. You know Mike is Mike. Mike doesn't like that.
Did you like my Did you like my Easter egg towards AOT during that call?
Oh.
I did not like
No, I
it,
didn't
actually.
like it. Fuck you, Jake. Leave the podcast.
Did you even hear
Yeah.
it? Did you even hear it?
Yeah, leave.
Did you even hear it?
No, get the fuck out of here, Jake.
Oh, I see how it is. Did you even hear my joke?
No, because it's shit anyways, Jake. We all hate you. You ain't part of the gang. Bro.
So we're just talking about each other.
Bro, Unbox, you gotta stop muting.
Okay, stop. We have to actually continue the
I just server
That's each
muted
other.
Jake for a second.
Stop. Okay.
Okay, I'll stop.
So, to continue on my point, my next one is going to be...
Bro, did you kick Unbox?
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. I was joking. My next one's going to be Griffith from Berserk. I feel like Griffith and Johan have a lot in common when it comes to whenever they're on screen.
Bro.
Okay, thank you for fucking me over. Whenever Griffith's on screen, his presence is known. And, like, yes, later down the line, he didn't really seem too much during, like, the conviction arc and during all that arc. You really don't see Griffith too much. But as that's happening, you do see snippets of Griffith and what he's doing. And he's really pulling the strings of everything around. And he's, like, basically, whenever he's there, you just know that he is going to be a major threat. And one that I don't even know how Guts is going to defeat. Unless he does what I predict will happen, which is kind of a spoiler for Berserk. But if you've read the first deluxe, it's not fully a spoiler. But basically, I think that Griffith is such an interesting character, and he does a lot of things that are morally wrong, but he doesn't see himself in the wrong. Because if you really think about it, no one really sees himself in the wrong, because he's just trying to get powerful. He's just doing it to get strong and to take over, have an empire that takes over the world. That's his whole entire goal. And he just wants to be like an almighty king. And he gives up and just basically builds all this to give up, just so he can get stronger. And I think that's so great to see about Griffith. He does a lot to really get to this point. And Guts and Casca are like the only two he really has left. And like, not left as people that care about him, but left to kill. He literally just needs those two. And it's super interesting seeing what he has to do and seeing what he does. And Griffith really does have a lot of twists and turns in his character. Like after Guts left the Band of the Hawk, what he did to the princess is very...
Oh, yeah, that was
But-
a disgusting scene, bro.
Yeah, he definitely does grape without the G a couple people, but like that one was just like holy fuck.
Yeah.
It's funny
A
because it's
few
like
grapes without the G.
grape without the G means rape for all of you at home.
Yeah.
Yo, if you're not my soldier, I'ma grape your girl.
Well, okay, to explain this last episode,
Without.
do you want me to explain it Unboxed or no?
Yeah. Explain
Basically,
it.
we were waiting for J-Dog for the last podcast episode. Me and Unboxed were talking about Berserk, and when we said, "If you ain't my soldier, I'm gonna grape your girl," is the exact line J-Dog joins us to.
Yo, I just like
No
joined the
fuck.
call.
I just heard that.
I just like got off my trombone class and I just hopped in the call and I just heard, oh yeah, if like you're not my soldier, I'm gonna rape your girl. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was like
And I was just like, "Hi, J Dog. We're talking about Berserk."
yeah, it was very funny. It was very funny. So yeah, Griffith is my favorite antagonist right now, and I feel like that won't change. I mean, I think you guys know my theory of how Berserk will end, and if not, then I don't see how Berserk will end with Griffith's downfall. Otherwise, I think that the ending of Berserk is literally just me Griffith taking over the whole world and Guts dying.
Lol,
So-
get fucked, Guts.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Guts is dead in the end of Berserk. Like, in my opinion, it really wouldn't be. It would definitely be a very viable ending. So
Yeah, from what I've read of Berserk, like I really liked Griffith. At the start, I was like, "Oh, this guy's a cool guy," and then like I was like, "Oh, this guy's not cool. Fuck this guy."
But Griffith is written to have these developments that make you hate him, and that's why I kind of like him. He's like, so it's unlike Donzo where he's not written to be hated. He's just, well, he is, but he's just written bad anyway. But Griffith is written well, and he's written to make people hate him because of his actions. I think that's an amazing thing.
So Donzo's written to be hated too.
Yeah, but Donzo's also not written well. I said.
Guys, another character that
I think he is.
I don't think he's nearly as well written as Griffith.
That's for sure. But
a character in Berserk that I think is just like a really good character, and it's one of the few characters that just hasn't done anything wrong. Is like a lot of people are like, oh, joking around, Griffith did nothing wrong, but I think Donovan really did nothing wrong.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Okay, let's just move on to unbox number 1, because Donovan
I'm looking up Donovan right now.
He's the one that's he's the big guy. He's the big guy.
Oh yeah.
Also, look in the
He's
chat.
the one who goes to Gambino and it's like, yeah, here's a couple silver coins.
I don't know. He paid his money, I guess.
Yeah, he paid his money. His hard-earned money.
He definitely did a lot wrong.
Look in general. Look at that server emote.
Yeah. He got what he deserved though.
He did. Thank the Lord.
He definitely got what he deserved.
Oh, 100%. It was so satisfying.
Because he kind of blew Guts' back on him. I was like, should I say that? Should I not? I don't know. We'll see if that was a good idea.
Okay, now you go unbox the first Berserk, because we're gonna just spoil the most.
Okay.
He just kind of bent his. He just.
Yeah, go on Age was great.
He was just doing like
we kinda just spoiled
furry
a lot.
roleplay with Guts. He just like had him bend over like a doggy for a bit.
Dude, we literally just spoiled all the sexual interactions.
Shoved his massive horse cock into Guts'. Okay.
That's okay. Like, no one cares about sex. Like, what are you? A degenerate? What, sex?
At Dom Woozle.
Whoa.
Sorry, didn't mean it, Dom.
Okay. Should I go into my numero uno? Was that cringe?
No.
Was that cringe?
I think we all know what it is, but you might as well.
Yeah, well, you guys know what it is, because I just told you.
It's kind of obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, okay, so you guys know me. I love Hunter x Hunter. And who is a great antagonist in Hunter x Hunter?
Crollo.
That was like same time, Jake.
Actually, I was gonna talk about that one fat douchebag in the Hunter exam. You know, the one with the juice.
Oh, baby!
He's my number one antagonist. He's my number one.
I know the real number one antagonist group. It's Carnival.
Carnival. You guys read Tomodachi Monsters, right? Everyone has.
I have not.
Carnival is the shit. Better than the Phantom Troop. Better than the Akatsuki. Better than the Ten Swords. It's better than everybody.
Better than that one scene in Berserk where Donovan shoved this massive horse cock into Guts' ass. Okay, let's edit that out.
Oh,
if we did have monetization, we would automatically lose monetization with this video.
Oh my god. Shit, that was detailed.
I'm keeping it in.
Okay, let me just go to my actual number one. So my actual number one is Meruem. I don't know if I have to explain why he's so great, but I'm going to do it anyway because I love talking about Meruem. I could talk about him for very long just because he's probably the best written character in Hunter x Hunter in my opinion, at least like with his dynamics too. So he's one of the best written like antagonists in Shonen too. I would say. I'm sure you guys can agree with that. And what he's doing, he basically doesn't see it as any wrong. Humans kill and eat inferior beings all the time, and that's exactly what he did. He was eating humans. He was eating the inferior being. So, but the thing is, the same as humans, yet he's labeled as a monster because it's convenient for humanity, because humans are supposed to be in the right. And the big Meruem fight you guys know what I'm talking about with Netero. It really shows us that humans are like the true monsters, and it really shows that with the bomb, which is the horrible weapon of war, which represents kind of how humans are like that. And the whole like dynamic with Komogi was great. While Komogi like is just this like innocent girl, which kind of makes Meruem become human, and he kind of develops his human emotions. And he has also like many great dynamics with other characters, like Gon and with his like royal guard and stuff. And I think the one of the best things about him is his parallel with Gon, because Gon is basically like human that's becoming monster because of what happened to a certain person. And you see Gon become monster, and you see the big thing at the end. And then you see Meruem, who's a monster who becomes human, and you see his kind of like ending with Meruem was just so emotional and just great. Like Togashi's a goat, except for him being a goofy, lazy ass. He just needs to go to the chiropractor.
No,
But
dude, did you
besides
not
that,
know? Did you not know that the Dragon Quest 12 is gonna be announced soon? I'm pretty sure. Dude.
yo, fuck that. No, don't announce shit. Togashi's not gonna do a single thing for the next 2 years if there's
Yo,
another
what about the
Dragon
new
Quest.
Idol Master? The new Idol Master. It means we're not gonna have a Berserk chapter for 2 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot that his thing was Idolmaster.
Yeah, but I just think that Meryl's so great. Like his whole Gon and Meryl parallel. Like some people complain that they never fight, but I don't know if Togashi meant this or not, but I've seen other people say this where like they're parallels, they never meet. Like they're in kind of the same realm, but since they're parallels, they never meet each other. Well, they do kind of meet, but they never fight.
Yeah. That's interesting. I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Marilyn
I kind
is
of
great.
talked about that a lot, but Marilyn is just written so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Meruem. I think he's one of the best shonen antagonists out there. I don't think many can like really compare. But yeah, that's my opinion. I think Meruem's amazing.
It's just like writing alone.
Yeah,
Like the
his
whole
wri-
Chimera and Archer Chimera, it was just, fuck, my headphone fell out.
Yeah, yeah, I
It's
felt
kind
the
of
same
balls.
way.
Okay, it was just done very well.
Mm-hmm.
It was just balls to the walls. Like there's a fight everywhere, but all the fights had meaning, and they're all really good. Well, like when you got to the mansion part, but like mansion, cool.
Yeah, so it kind of cut out because J-Dog got attacked by hyenas in his house, but we were talking about how the mansion part was really good. It kind of had a lot of build up to it, and it paid off really well.
Yeah, and it's great. I think of all the fights inside the mansion part, even the ones where like good side loses and then they try to come back in the next fight is really good. And like all of the fights really have meaning. Whereas some other like shonen arcs, some fights really don't have meaning. Like I'll admit it, during the Hueco Mundo arc of Bleach, the fucking Ishida versus that one like Arankar girl is not really needed. It's just there to give us an Ishida fight. But like, I mean, a lot of Battle Shonen arc fights that are with side characters aren't really fully needed, but with that, I feel like every fight was needed to show the progression of everything. And it's kind of like an all-out war in a mansion, so it was really interesting.
Hunter x Hunter is just done so well. Even though the anime is better, I still want to collect the manga just because I love it.
Yeah. Too bad Dragon Quest is a thing.
Yo,
Yeah.
don't bring that up. Fuck Dragon Quest. Like, honestly, like...
Dude, at this point, I don't even think he's playing Dragon Quest. I think he's trying to become the best Smash player in the world with Hero.
Yo,
Bro, when Hero was announced,
he's just doing anything but making manga.
Yeah, when Hero was announced, he's just like, me need be number one, me pride, me no lose, me Hero.
he's
me
just such a
me thwack, me thwack.
he's such a Dragon Quest stan. You know?
I mean, what's worse, being a Dragon Quest stan or an Idol Master stan?
Don't. That's kind of hard. Idolmaster's
Idol
more
Master's a
degenerate.
lolly game.
Yeah, it's more degenerate, but like at least it's not as time consuming as Dragon Quest.
Yeah, but you're literally just collecting lollies.
Yeah, I
Wait, is
think
that actually what it is?
I think Idol
I think
Master is
so.
worse. If that's true, then what the?
It's just
That, wait, who's the one that's obsessed with that?
the creator of Berserk.
Well, two people that created masterpieces just are obsessed with video games instead of writing
Also, the
manga.
creator of Berserk, Kentaro Miura, is a perfectionist, so he probably tries to get every single thing inside those games because he goes pixel by pixel when he's drawing Berserk. So I mean, he probably also is just like, yeah, I have to collect every lolly. Kind of like fucking Ash.
Kentaro
Like, I
Miura
have to collect
got all
them
the lollies.
He's
lollies
literally the IRL lolly collecting Ash Ketchum. Like, I need to collect all the lollies. I need to catch them all. Like,
Yo,
you just get to net. Like in the games, you just have nets and you just like fucking snatch lollies. You're painting such a vivid like picture in my head, Jake.
dude, it'd be so funny just seeing that though. But not like just seeing him playing Idol Master and then just looking at Berserk. It's so funny.
Yeah, have you seen the video? I forgot the creator. It's not like a big creator, but it's a video called Berserk: One Man's Constant Struggle Not to Play Idolmaster.
I have not.
It's a great video.
I mean, a lot of mangakas go on hiatus, and I really only see one with a really major excuse, and that's the D. Gray Man mangaka.
Why?
Because like they're in like the hospital, and like I think they're on their deathbed.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's a good excuse.
I think they're very terminally ill, but they still make more chapters.
Togashi, go to a fucking chiropractor.
Yo.
Okay, before we end the episode,
just stretch every morning or some shit. Like I want Hunter x Hunter.
Just take a run, bro.
Okay. Before we end the episode, I have to end it with the classic fuck IQ.
Hell yeah.
Fuck